Well, good morning. It's good to have you all here. Today, we're going to dive into how to find properties. Now, finding properties is consistently the single biggest reason that people are not successful in the real estate business. It's not because of a lack of funding. It's not because of a lack of knowledge or experience. Well, those contribute to it, but the single hardest part about the real estate business, particularly the house flipping business, the hardest part about the business is finding the right property. That's it. That's all there is. Everything else flows down from there. Finding the right property, a property that makes sense financially, a property that pencils out in order for you to spend your time, energy, and effort on it is extremely difficult to find. So we're going to talk about why that is, and we're going to talk about the strategies and techniques that you are going to need to learn and implement to make sure that you are not spinning your wheels and wasting time. And what I'd like to do today as we dive in is I'd like to make sure that everybody understands there's a whole network of properties out there in places that you've never really thought of. And we're going to get to that. And it's going to be really exciting. And a lot of your minds are going to start thinking about, hey, wait, I could do this. I can contact this person. Oh, I know this person. And so I really want to dig into how to find properties, because this is super important. If you're a note taker, this is the first thing that I'm going to say today that I would really like you to write down, because this is the absolute, probably one of the most important things you'll ever hear in any kind of real estate training. And so I want to be very clear and upfront. This is kind of the motto I live by in real estate, and it's this: all of the money in real estate is made when you buy the home, not when you sell. Hey, could all of you hit your mute button, please, real quick? I'm hearing some noise and some coughing, and I love it. I'm glad you're here. But if you could hit your mute button, I'd appreciate it. All of the money in real estate is made when you buy the house, not when you sell it. What do I mean by that? Well, every battle in real estate, the great warrior general Sun Tzu wrote a book called The Art of War. And he says in the book, every battle is won or lost before it is ever fought. Okay, I got to get some mute button. Let me mute everybody here. Nobody's, how do I mute? Mute. Record, share, reactions, participants. Mute. All right, there we go. Thank you. Okay. All of the money in real estate is made before you ever start on the deal. The money in real estate is made in the purchase, not in the sale. And a lot of people say, well, wait a minute. When I sold my property, I got a check for $75,000. That's when I made the money. No, that's not when you made the money. You made the money when you bought the property correctly to begin with. That's where the money is. Sun Tzu saying every battle is won or lost before it's ever fought. Every battle is won or lost before it's ever fought. Dovetails exactly into what I'm talking about. Finding the property is the hard part, because in the advent of the internet and technology, nowadays, anybody with an internet connection can instantly see pre-foreclosures, foreclosures, all of the Zillow, all of the Redfin, all of the different real estate sites. Everybody has instant access to all of the properties that are either on the MLS or distressed in some sort of way. With the advent of PropStream and a few other technological advancements, anybody with an internet connection can see every property that's available in any region. So you can't compete against the internet. You can utilize it. You can use that to gather data. You can run comparables and things like that. But if you're genuinely trying to make money in the real estate business, you can't just simply look on PropStream or look on Zillow or look on Redfin or one of the other real estate sites, and then look up a property and say, hey, this one might work. While it is true that occasionally there are deals that you can pop by on the MLS or buy from a realtor and they can make sense, generally speaking, for the average investor, you're competing against too many other professionals and you'll end up overpaying. You'll end up overpaying for property. So here's what I want to do right now. I'm going to show, I'm hoping that all of you have been in the school community. Hold on one second.
I'm Chiniquy, and I want to thank you.
I hope that you've all been in the school community. We're gonna just go like this for 1 second. So for those of you that haven't spent time yet in school, this is where you want to go. So inside the school community, you'll want to come in here to classrooms. And here's all your videos, the different courses that you're going to watch. We're in the finding section right now. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to spend this week and next week, and possibly into one more week, really honing in on our finding strategies. And I want to make sure that every one of you understands exactly what you should be doing and what you should be looking for. So we're going to be getting into finding. After finding, we'll go into funding, and after funding, we'll go into flipping, and then we'll repeat, but it won't be the same curriculum. Every time you see me, I will teach something different. But that way, as we add more members in the course and in the community, we're going to be able to reference this video and then reference future videos. So we'll spend a couple weeks on finding, a couple weeks on funding, a couple weeks on flipping, rinse and repeat, but each time you'll gain a little more knowledge and a little more experience. So let's watch a quick video here. We're going to go into level 1 of flip finding secrets. By the way, I love the interaction in the community so far. We have a real small group of people right now, which is really great for all of us that are here because we can engage and get to know each other. There's like only 14 or 15 people in the community right now. Now it's going to grow to hundreds of people. I think you can understand that as I train and as I get engaging with you and I show you how everything works, you're going to find a lot of benefit in the community and you're going to tell your friends and more people are going to join. And I keep recruiting people to come in here. So it's going to get much bigger. There's going to be a lot more of us. But for right now, we've got this great little group of people. So let's dig into this first video right here. It's a short video. But I want you to watch this with me real quick here.
I'm Chiniquy, and I want to thank you for joining me. My top priority is to make sure you get maximum value out of this course and achieve the best results possible. Well, these strategies will work if you put in the work. But don't worry, I'm here to hold your hand every step of the way. When I first got started flipping homes, I spent a lot of times off in the weeds looking at properties that were currently for sale. I would talk to real estate agents and ask them, hey, do you have a pocket listing? I put up signs. I joined real estate investment groups. I did everything that everyone said you should do. But through years of trial and error, I learned that those are not the best ways to find properties. Because everyone was doing all of that. I realized I had to find a way to find homes that are not currently on the market, but instead intercept them before they become available. Over the years, I have perfected a method that has helped me and those I've trained find countless homes that were not yet available to the general public. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know so that properties are finding you rather than you finding them. I designed this course to simplify everything for you and teach you exactly what to do without any of the fluff. I've taken the last 33 years of my real estate investing career and I've condensed it down to what I think are the most important actions you can take to get your desired results. And it's all using the most streamlined process possible. These are my trade secrets and the same methods that I personally use that have led to over $100 million in real estate transactions for me. Until now, I've only taught these strategies to a handful of students in my private coaching sessions. The results were so amazing, I decided to finally share my message with a wider audience. Included in this course is a step-by-step guide to the best properties, how to find them, as well as resources to help make the process go as smoothly as possible. Again, thank you for joining me and letting me help guide you on your real estate investing journey. You've already taken the first big step. Now it's time to carry the momentum forward and get the process started.
What a cute little introduction. Thank you for your indulgence in watching that introduction. We're going to go to another video in just a couple minutes. But I want you to understand a basic fundamental concept that I kind of tapped on before I showed that, which is the old strategies and techniques that people used to utilize, all the stuff that you've heard about that you've heard from other gurus or other people on the internet or books you've read or whatever, they're just not working the way that they used to. And so every couple of years, I see some new guru pop up. They've had a little bit of success in the business. They've been in the business 3 or 4 years, and they flipped a couple of houses, and then they all of a sudden they become some kind of expert and start teaching strategies and techniques. The problem with all of this other strategies and all of the other techniques is that basically they're just regurgitating or refining things that have already been tried by a lot of other people. The old methods just don't work any longer either, especially when it comes to properties that are on the MLS. By the time the property hits the MLS, it's generally too late. It's generally too late. And that's because everybody in the world has access to instant data. We have people on this Zoom right now we have at least 3 different continents on the Zoom right now. So you got people over in Europe right now who can look at a property that are wholesaling here in America. We got people in the Philippines that are tying up properties, assigning that contract or wholesaling to somebody else right now. So you're competing against everyone with an internet connection when you're looking for properties online, when you're looking for properties that are on the MLS, when you're looking for properties with a realtor, when you're doing that sort of thing. So a lot of the other strategies and techniques, let's talk about a couple of the ones that have been used for decades, that have had success in the past, that are no longer as successful. The number one way that I've heard in different iterations over the years, they call it different things. They call it, most people know it as driving for dollars. And this is an old strategy that, although it still works, it's just a lot more difficult. I gotta get somebody muted here, for crying out loud. Mute. Who's not muted? There it is. Mute. Perfect. All right, mute all. Good, that was easy. Okay, good, sorry about that. All right, now you're all muted, but I love you, and I'm glad you're here. Okay, so driving for dollars, it still works. It's not a strategy that I teach. It's not, I mean, it's a strategy I teach, but it's not as productive as it used to be because there's just so much more competition. But basically the driving for dollar strategy, it's a super easy concept, and I don't want you, that's the one strategy that everybody knows about that still works, in my opinion. Now, I'm going to show you the other ways that work much, much, much better. I'm going to show you how to create a funnel so properties are coming to you. But the driving for dollar strategy still works. What you're looking for in situations like that is you're looking for the house that you're driving down a street and all the houses are pretty well kept. And then all of a sudden there's this eyesore, and that there's weeds. There's, maybe a broken window, maybe it's occupied, maybe it's not. And what we say in the polite term is that the property lacks pride of ownership. That was one of my first properties I ever bought, this fourplex. And I remember when I was talking to one of my early mentors, and he looked at the property, he said, "You see this thing? It lacks pride of ownership." And that's what you're looking for. So that one strategy, driving for dollars, still works. If you're in a neighborhood, if you're someplace and you see some terrible beat up property, you would go back to PropStream, find out, or do skip trace, find out who owns the property, contact them, that sort of thing. But all of the other methods that would be used by people, joining investment groups, putting up road signs, putting up billboards, running ads in Craigslist, trying to go to auctions, try to go to banks and get REOs. When I first got started in this business in the 80s, I called every bank and every credit union in the county, and I was looking for REOs. For those of you who don't know, REO stands for real estate owned. Real estate owned is simply the polite term to say a property that's already gone through foreclosure and the bank or creditor has regained physical ownership of the property. REO is the final exit of a property that has been foreclosed on. So REOs are still good. The problem is, if it's an REO, everybody knows about it, because as soon as a notice of default is filed, everybody in the world has access to that data. By the time it already goes through the foreclosure process, everybody has had a chance to view the property, bid on it, buy it, whatever. By the time the bank actually takes it back, it's usually too late. So that was one of the big strategies I used in the early days of my career back in the 80s and early 90s, was doing REOs and working with banks. I joined all the investment forums. I put up road signs. I did all of the things that everybody said, but it just wasn't as consistent. It just wasn't as consistent. And then one day I had this meeting with my accountant, and it absolutely changed my life when I met with my accountant one day. We're going to talk about it in a minute, but I want to show you the next video in this series, Property Finding Funnel. So we're going to go to the Property Finding Funnel video now. Now, remember, all of you can watch these videos over and over again. They're all inside the school community. I encourage you to watch them over and over.
This video, I'll be covering the basics of how to build a property finding funnel. Here's the problem. You're just one person. And if you try to talk to realtors or look on the MLS or try to find some kind of pocket listing, you're just not going to be successful. There's not enough profit in those methods, and they just don't work like they used to. You don't have the time to be able to go out and do all of the research necessary to find the very best properties in the markets in which you want to invest. That's why you need to put other people to work for you. Your time is best spent analyzing property. The more properties you're able to analyze, the more properties you're able to look at, the more likely it's going to be that you'll be successful, because real estate is a numbers game. You want to get as many people sending you as many properties as possible. Your time's going to be best used, most effectively used, analyzing the specifics of each deal and trying to decide which one is most profitable. Go tell everyone that you know that you're looking for properties to buy. Anyone in your circle of influence, people that know you, people that love you, people that trust you, people that owe you. You're looking for properties that are not on the MLS and might not even be for sale right now. The reason these people know about these properties is because they might have an extended family. Somebody else needs to sell them. This strategy is extremely effective because more than likely you already have a property waiting for you inside your immediate sphere of influence. The majority of the properties that I flip come from this exact strategy. Basically, I've trained all my family and friends and taught them what I'm looking for in a property. Now I have an army of people out there sending me deals, filling my funnel. So why would someone send you properties? What's in it for them? To create a win-win situation for the people that find you homes, it's really simple. Like if a family member, a friend, or someone that's a non-professional, I'll generally pay them some sort of a finder's fee, like a wholesale fee. And that'll normally range between, say, $2,500 and $10,000. It could be more, but this creates a very good opportunity for them. And it makes it a win-win situation. They're incentivized to go out and find additional properties. And every time they do, you just pay them a fee, or you could pay them a percentage based off of the sales price. But in my 33 years of business, I've never seen someone not be able to find a property once they start looking. Once you tell everyone that you're actively looking for real estate properties, it'll almost become like a challenge for them to find you one. Once you have a reputation as an investor, the properties are just going to start to funnel in. Once you have an army of people working as your eyes and ears on the ground, you're able to free up your time to spend it where it is most useful. And that's in analyzing the properties. You're going to have a bunch of your family, friends, and associates sending you properties, but a lot of what they're going to send you, it's just simply not going to work. And this could be for a variety of reasons. Most of the time, it's just going to be too expensive. Or maybe there's not enough profit in the deal. Maybe it's going to cost too much to renovate it. But the bottom line is, the more properties you look at, the higher the chance you're going to have to find a really good deal. You really only have a certain amount of time that you're able to dedicate to looking for properties. So you've probably heard it said before that your network is your net worth. This is really true in real estate. The more people you're in contact with, the more people that you can have out working for you, the better. And the great thing is you got to realize they're basically working for free up front. I mean, you don't have to pay them anything to start right now. The only time you would pay them is if they find a viable deal. So you instantly have an entire team of people out looking for real estate for no money. Well, there you have it. That is the exact process I use to build my property finding funnel. Be sure to finish this course in its entirety, as I will be sharing my criteria and specific resources for building your funnel later on in this course. But that's it for this video. If you have any further questions, please let me know.
Okay, so I want to talk about something here, because if you just watch that video, you might be scratching your head saying, wait a second, wait a second, wait a second. So you're telling me your property finding funnel is just to tell family and friends and tell business people that you're a real estate investor. In the most simple terms, yes, that's what I'm telling you, but it's much more deeper. It's much deeper than that and much more involved than that. What I want to suggest to you right now is that I want you to imagine if you were the most successful house flipper in the country. You were on, every TV show. Everybody's like saying how famous you are. You're an incredible house flipper. If that was the case, if you were the #1 house flipper in America, do you think maybe a friend or a coworker or somebody in your family might say, hey, I've got a property that I want to flip, or I know of a property to flip? What if you were the #1 house flipper in the country? Do you think people would be sending you deals? Do you think people would want to talk to you? Do you think people would want to be involved with you to have you help them flip a property? Here's what you have to understand. The majority of properties that are good to flip usually have some sort of common element that we're going to get into in the future training. But the bottom line is this. How do you think the realtors get the properties initially to list? They make a lot of phone calls, they make a lot of cold calls, and they make a lot of contacts. Well, basically, I want to teach you how to work inside your network with your family and friends. I'm going to help you develop 2 separate funnels. You're going to develop a funnel of family and friends, people who I said in the video, who know you, who owe you, who love you, who trust you, people invested in your success, friends, colleagues, and then potentially strangers. We're going to talk about how that works. We're going to develop a friends and family funnel that is sending properties to you. And then we're going to develop what's called a professional funnel. And we're going to talk about the professions that will bring properties to you. We'll talk about that. That's not going to be in today's training. Today, I want to talk about the importance of why this simple strategy needs to be dug into deeper, pull the layers back, and figure out a way to make sure you navigate this correctly. Because I am telling you right now, the best, easiest, fastest, most consistent way to get a steady stream of properties to come to you is through networking, your family and friends funnel, and a professional funnel. And here's why. As the video said, you're just one person, okay? So if you have to spend all of your time out looking for properties, look, there's only a couple hours a day that you can really do that. But if you had 10, 20, 30, 40 other people out looking for you, here's what's going to happen. You'll start getting a bunch of properties. And I'm telling you right now, I want everyone who hears my voice to listen to me very clearly, because this is super important. If you start today, I'm telling you within 90 days, you'll have a minimum of 1 incredible property to either fix and flip or buy and hold or to wholesale. I think it'll be sooner than that if you really focus and do everything I tell you to do. But every one of you is going to find a gem in this low-hanging fruit. A lot of people don't understand how easy it can be to communicate your ideas to someone else and then to have them get to work for you for free. Let me explain how this works. I'm going to be you for a second. Okay, I'm TJ, or I'm Mel, or I'm one of you great people. Fadi, I see you all out there, you awesome people. Okay, I asked you, what would it be? What would it be like if you were known as the #1 house flipper in the country right now? Do you think people would send you deals? Yes, they would. Okay. So here's how you're going to position yourself. Okay. It's one of my favorite things. You've heard me say it before. Act as if. Act as if. I want everyone listening right now, from this moment forward, I want you to act as if you are a successful real estate developer. I want you to act as if you are a successful house flipper. Act as if you have a portfolio full of rental properties. It is a simple mind shift. And here's how we're going to do it. Because I know what you're saying right now. I can feel you out there saying, wait a second, Chad, that's real good and everything, but you've been doing this for 35 years. And so when you talk to people, they're going to listen to you. Everybody knows that I work at the dry cleaner and, I don't flip properties. Okay. You're going to act as if you do. And here's what's going to happen moving forward. Because you have joined this community, because you're going through my training, when you get through my training, when you go through all the things, I'm going to give you a proof of funds. And the proof of funds is going to enable you, it's going to give you a lot of confidence, and it's going to enable you to tie up properties. But equally important, if not more important, moving forward, you're going to be able to confidently say, my partner, Chad, that's what you're going to lean on to start with, because you're going to act as if you're already a successful real estate investor, and people are going to push back, and you're going to say, well, my partner, Chad, I work with Chad. That's what you're going to say. You're going to leverage my name. You're going to leverage my company, and that's going to give you that extra little bit of oomph or credit that you need with those people. Now, here's what has to happen. You have to have a mindset shift. And so everyone is going to do an exercise with me right now. I want everyone, no matter what you're doing, unless you're driving, I hope you're not driving. I hope you're sitting comfortably in front of a computer taking voracious notes, right? Like just note taking. But everybody who can hear me right now, do me a favor. I want you all to fold your arms. Okay? Got our arms folded, everybody? All right, your arms are folded. Now, that feels normal. That feels right. That's what you do. If you're at a ball game and you're watching, you're a little tired, you fold your arms, or you stand up and you don't know what you do with your hands, so you fold your arms. And this is how you fold them, right? Now, everybody do this right now. I want you to refold your arms. I want you to refold your arms the other way. Refold your arms the other way. This is how I fold my arms. This is how you fold your arms. Change it now. Okay, change it. That doesn't feel right. That just feels weird, right? It feels different. My arms are still folded. My arms are still folded, but it feels weird. This is how your arms are supposed to be folded. And now when I fold them like this, it feels weird. That is the shift I need. That is the shift you must make in your mind as a real estate investor. So right now, if you're in the trucking business or you're in the bagel business, okay, that's this. This is the film business right here. This is the laundromat right here. This is the accounting you right here. You have to switch that. I need you to switch the way you view yourself. I need you to adopt a real estate investor's mindset, along with the confidence that comes with that. When you meet someone and you talk to them, as long as you believe it, they'll believe it. So what's going to happen is when you talk to people, you're going to be saying, instead of saying like, hey, I saw this guy on the internet and he said I can flip houses. So I was thinking about doing it. And if you maybe have a house that you want to flip, will you call me? It's not going to be like that. Now, it's going to take a little trial and error, But instead, it's going to be something like this. Hey, I'm an active real estate investor. I'm working with a great partner at a funding company. I'm looking for additional deals in your market right now. I'd love to do some business with you. Do you see the difference? Do you see the difference? Right now, all of you think of yourself as a X, whatever that is. Your job or your career or something, and that's how you define yourself. Moving forward, you're a real estate investor, and every single person that you speak to from now on, you never introduce yourself again as somebody who's in the film business. You never introduce yourself again and say, hey, I'm in the shipping business, or I'm in the oil business, or I'm whatever it is. You are no longer in that business. You work directly with me. I'm your mentor, I'm your partner, and I am your funder. And you and I do deals together. That is the mind shift. Whether or not you and I ever do a deal together, whether or not I ever fund a deal for you, whether or not we ever do business, this mindset shift will absolutely change the way other people see you. Now, it might be hard at first when you go over to your parents' house or to your brother's house, and you may stumble through the words there a little bit. That's okay. That's why I teach you how to create two separate funnels: the family and friends funnel, which is going to be some trial and error, which is where you'll get your reps in. We gotta get our reps. We have to get used to talking. We have to get used to communicating. And so we're gonna basically burn through our family and friends. We're gonna burn through our family and friends as that funnel, as that first funnel we go through, as we're practicing the new way we see ourselves and the new way that we present ourselves. Because I am here to tell you this: the number one way for you to get properties off market from people that need to sell, not using the MLS, is through personal contact, through people that you know or people that you will meet. That's how you find the majority of the properties. I don't care if you're standing in line at the bank. If you're at the grocery store, if you're at the car wash, if anybody asks you, what do you do for a living? I'm a real estate investor. I primarily focus on house flipping. That's it. That's what you say. That little shift right there is going to instantly give you properties. You may think, Chad, you're full of baloney. That's not going to work. Really? Wait till you try it. Let me ask you this. I don't want to ask a show of hands, but by a show of hands, how many of you have ever been to Los Angeles, California, Hollywood, California? Okay. I'm sure you understand that in Hollywood, California, I lived there when I was a kid. I was an actor when I was a kid. I moved there when I was 21. I moved to Studio City when I was 21. I was in a couple of Disney movies and stuff, whatever. But let me ask you a question. Those actors in Hollywood, they're all waiting tables at Cheesecake Factory, or they're waiting tables, right? Are those people waiting tables in LA? Are they waiters or are they actors? If you ask them a question, they're not going to say, well, I wait tables at the Cheesecake Factory. They say, what do you do for a living? They say, I'm an actor. That's what they say. Why? Because that's the career they're going for, not the career that they're doing right now. Nobody moves to Hollywood to become a waiter. They move to Hollywood to become an actor, right? And as soon as they get there, they tell everybody, I'm an actor. They don't say, oh, I'm a waiter, right? So from now on, same thing. No more telling people you're in the film business. No more telling people you're in the oil business. No more telling people that you're an accountant or a baker. You're a real estate investor. You're an active real estate investor. And the deeper they want to probe with you, I'm going to arm you. I'm going to arm you with the tools, techniques, but more importantly, the support from me and my organization to back you up so that when you go out and you speak to people, you're speaking on behalf of you and me as a team. And let me tell you something. When I tell people I'm a real estate investor. Let me ask you, do you think they doubt me? Think about it. Okay, now, fairness, I've been doing this for 35 years. But you may have been doing this for 35 minutes. If you make the mental shift in your mind that you are an active real estate investor, and then through the course of this training, I teach you what to say, how to say it, you're going to see deals start to flow to you. At first, it might be a little awkward. You might stumble over your words, and that's okay. That's why I've developed this system exactly the way that I have, where we start out working with the family and friends. We get our reps in that way. We will find one property. Everybody who can hear my voice right now can find a property within 90 days. I can't stress that enough. You have property in your network right now. There's someone, we're going to go in the criteria in the next training module. We'll go through the criteria of what you're looking for specifically, but I can't stress this part of the training more. This is more important. This part of the training is more important than almost anything else I'm going to train you. It's the mindset shift. People will not believe you if you don't believe you. Does that make sense? You have to believe it. So I need you all to do whatever you need to do to get to a point where you can act as if. Now, for some of you, it's going to be really easy. Oh, Chad said it, I'm just going to do it. And that's just how you are. Some of you may be a little more reserved, maybe be a little more timid. I'm not comfortable approaching people. I'm not comfortable talking to people. That's okay. You don't have to be yet. You and I are going to do some role playing. On these lives, we're going to do some role playing. Before we leave the finding section, one of our sessions that we're going to do is we're going to role play. I'll prep you for it. I'll give you homework, and you'll know that the next time we meet, you're going to have to role play with me. But I'm going to be one of your family members, or I'm going to be one of your friends, and you and I are going to go through the exercise of talking to each other. I can't stress this enough. If you make the mindset shift and decide that this moment from here on out, you are a real estate investor, your family, your friends, your extended family and friends will believe you once you believe it. So I need you to really make this shift. Don't worry about how it's all going to work out. I'll show you all of that. I'm going to teach you exactly what to say. In the course, inside school, there are all of my scripts and all of my email templates. We're going to be making a lot of phone calls. We're going to be sending a lot of emails. We're going to be sending a lot of texts, but I've already done the heavy lifting for you. Inside the school community, in each one of the modules, there are downloads that you can resources. So for example, right here in the video that we just watched, you can click on this PDF, and here are the elevator scripts, okay? And these are simply copy and paste scripts. Here's your professional elevator pitch. Here's your friends and family pitch. So exactly, the pitch you'd say to your friends and family is, I'm in the real estate business. I specifically flip distressed properties. If you come across anything, I'd love to take a look at it. I end up buying a property, I can pay you a finder's fee. Something simple and quick and easy like that. I'm going to teach you what to say to the professionals. I'm going to provide you inside the resources with all the materials, with everything that you need, to become successful. Everything's in there. I've done all the heavy lifting. I've done all the thinking for you. Hold on, I can close that up. So all you have to do is copy and paste or say what I say. Act as if you are already a successful real estate investor. So those are the only two videos we're going to watch today. What I've said to you so far, though it may not seem like much, Chad, wait a minute. I joined this community because I wanted some sort of incredible. I have my phone on Do Not Disturb. Why do I keep getting phone calls? Sorry about that. But this is super important. It may not seem like it, but I promise you, once you have that investor's mindset, once you are an actor rather than a waiter, everyone that you talk to is going to want to be involved in that because house flipping is sexy. I don't care that interest rates are high right now. I don't care that the market sucks right now. That's actually, I don't want to say good for you, but there is no competition out here in the house flipping business right now. None, 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 none. Because everybody's afraid of interest rates and everybody's afraid of the economy. So now is when you need to be hustling. Now is when you need to be grinding. Now is when you need to be pumping. So I need you to make the shift. This is the most important thing we're going to discuss today. Make the shift that you are already an active real estate investor and you're going to use and leverage my 35 years in the experience in the business, my 35 years of business experience in house flipping. You're going to use that as your own. You're going to trade off my name until you feel comfortable trading on your own. We'll go into how that works in our next training. But right now, oh man, it goes by so quick. I love this too, by the way. I got to tell you, I love training. This is my favorite. This is my favorite. If I could do anything for a living, well, I am doing this for a living, but if I could do anything, it would be to help other people just understand the simple concepts of how to find the property. So I want to tell you something. Remember this. All the money in real estate is made when you buy the property, not when you sell it. It's made when you buy. So we have to find the right properties. That's the hardest part about the real estate business. The hardest part is to find the right properties. So what's going to happen is you are now a real estate investor right now. That's the change you've made. And everybody you talk to moving forward, is going to be a potential person to send you properties. Now we're going to get Thursday, and then next week, we're going to dive into the specifics that we're looking for a property and what you actually say, and we'll go through all of that. That's for the next training. This training is about having your mindset shift. You're no longer an actor, a waiter, you're a full-time actor. You're no longer working at the bakery, you're a full-time real estate investor, okay? That's the shift. I'm going to tell you why that's important later, and we're going to go through in future training sessions what you say to people moving forward. But that's the shift. Okay, that's the basics of what we are today. I need to now spend a little time on questions and answers. Now, my favorite kinds of questions are going to be about what we specifically just talked about. That would be my favorite type of question. However, I'm going to unmute all of you right now, and anyone who would like to ask a question can ask a question. You are asked to unmute. Or actually, I think you can unmute yourself, ask to unmute. There we go. Is everybody else unmuted? Here. Anybody else that would like to ask a question, now would be the time. If you have questions, I have answers. I don't. So if you want to raise your hand, or if you have any simple questions, if you have, let's see, any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Okay.
I think I'm the only one that's unmuted right now.
I tried to unmute everybody else, but I don't know how to do that. But anyway, go ahead, Jeff. Ask me a question.
So, hey, Chad, I just want to start by saying thank you so much for taking the time and going through everything, showing us the videos, amazing introduction. It's so awesome. And so much that you said resonated with me just because my apartment that I told you about earlier is actually in Studio City. I've lived in Studio City for the last 10 years.
Really?
And my wife is currently in Studio City right now auditioning. She's an actor. She comes from I am a server, but I'm actually, she was a server, but she was actually an actor. So that whole story, that you just said was just completely resonated with me, 100%. And then the whole family and friends thing, really cool. I love that approach. It's awesome. My question is, in my specific situation, is specifically in Scottsdale, my family that's here is really my in-laws, my wife's family. My father-in-law and my brother-in-law are both realtors in Scottsdale. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for
That's
me.
it's not, it's great question, Jeff. Great question. Jeff's question primarily is, hey, inside my family and friends network, I've got some realtors. The problem is with the realtors is realtors in general just have a different mindset than does the investor. And that's the big problem. Also, because the realtors that you're talking to in your family or whatever, they have their own process for how they get properties, and they hate guys like you and
That's what
me.
I thought. I
Yeah, they
figured
hate us.
I figured
So
you'd say that.
no,
That being
that
said,
is,
my father-in-law and my mother-in-law, as much as he is a realtor, they also have been fixing and flipping properties for the last 20 years. So he does both. He sells and he fixes and flips. So I'm wondering, is it beneficial to me to even talk to him about it or just keep him out of it completely?
here's the problem. Here's the problem. I don't want to get inside the relationship between your in-laws and you and that sort of thing. But any other profession, I would say absolutely talk to them. But if they're actual realtors, then they don't like you, because
Right.
what you do is you circumvent realtors in every way that you can. Now, I never use a realtor when I buy, unless I'm buying a primary residence or a vacation home. I would never use a realtor ever. Um, when I buy, I just don't. That by the time a realtor gets involved, it's automatically 15% more expensive. Just right off the bat, it's 15% more expensive, usually 20, can be as much as 30. So you have to go to the properties before the realtors get there. So I'm going to teach you at next session on Thursday, I'm going to teach you how to intercept those properties. Actually, no, Thursday, I've got a special guest arriving. I'm going to bring somebody on Thursday. One of my former students, well, not former, current student, yeah, who's done millions of dollars in real estate, and we're gonna interview and talk with him and see some of the ways and things that he's done and what's been successful and hasn't been successful. I think that's Thursday. I've got to double check. But here's the problem with realtors, and the realtors being your in-laws. Once a realtor's involved, you're toast, and they're gonna look. They're not going to, until you achieve, Jeff, a level of success in the industry, until you do your own deals and make your own money in the business, they're going to have a negative view towards you coming from the film industry, trying to get into their industry.
Right.
And they hate guys like me, and they don't like guys like you trying to circumvent them and come in their business. So that is going to be, in my humble opinion, a big dead end for you. But that's okay. Your in-laws are just a very small fraction of your network. You've heard it said, your net worth is your network is your net worth. Your network is your net worth. My favorite flip I've ever done, it was the one, probably the hardest flip I've ever done. It's one I've just recently finished, and it's the basis of this training course. Everything, what happened was, I've been training people professionally since about 2000. Is that right? Holy crap. Ooh, that's a long time. So for 24 years, I've been training people. And I've done seminars all over the United States and in Canada, and I've been a guru for other brands, and I've done other training things. And people fly out and they'll spend $40,000 to come spend 4 days with me in San Diego, all that kind of stuff. But I got to tell you something. Really, at the end of the day, the real estate business is simply a people business. And that's why, if you ever heard me anyplace else, I always talk about this book called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. How to Win Friends and Influence People. It was written back in I don't know, it's not 100 years old, but it's like 70, 80 years old. Sometimes it's a little hard to read because it's antiquated, talking about somebody working as a soda hop making $1.15 an hour or something. And you're like, wait, what is this? But the principles and techniques inside that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, are going to be super important, because basically this is a contact sport. You're going to have to contact a lot of people, and how you negotiate with people, how you present yourself to people, how you talk to people. That's going to be much more important. And so don't worry that I would not go to realtors in any way, in any shape, I have a golfing buddy who's a realtor, and I'll talk to him sometime. I might say, hey, do you have anything coming up? He's a golfing buddy, but usually it's too late by the time they're involved. I was telling you about my favorite flip that I did, probably the hardest flip. What happened was, as I told you, I've been training other people since the year 2000. When the lockdowns happened, and I was forced out of my office and not able to, me and my employees, and we're not allowed to, I would have been arrested if I physically went into my office building. I'm like, okay, what the crap am I going to do? I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to create the definitive real estate education training course. And I'm going to teach people how to find, fund, and flip. But rather than just sit in front of a whiteboard or sit in front of some kind of, training thing, I'm going to actually go out and I'm going to flip a house. I'm going to find one. I'm going to fund it. I'm going to flip it. And I'm going to film the entire thing, warts and all. And then I'm going to show people exactly what it really takes. But more important than that, I decided what I was going to do is I was going to flip a multi-million-dollar property. And I was going to do it with no money out of my pocket. And I was going to do it with no credit report, no tax returns, no pay stubs, no W-2s, no income verification of any kind. And I was going to get over 100% financing using no money out of my pocket. So I set out to do just that. Followed the exact strategies and techniques that I've taught you, 100% exact same strategies, found a property, put it under contract, bought it for $1,285,000. I put $600,000 in rehab into that project and then sold it for $3,275,000. That's an increase in sales price of $1,990,000. It was a gross profit of $1,390,000. I did all of that with no money out of my pocket, no tax returns, W-2s, pay stubs of any kind. And I filmed all of it so that I could show you exactly how to do it. And that's going to be the basis of my training for you, to show you how I did it. And I did everything that I'm going to tell you to do is exactly what I did. And then I filmed it, and you'll see all the film during the course of our community here. You'll see me you'll watch the video of me interviewing the different contractors. For that particular house, I spoke to 9 contractors. I had 5 come out to the property. I had 3 give me a written bid. Okay. Spoke to 9, 5 came to the property, 3 written bids. The 2 finalists, I had the camera crew come, and you'll see me negotiate with them. You'll see me talk to them. You'll see me say the things to them that you say to contractors. You'll also see me interview the realtors, because I sit down with realtors, because I'm going to list this property for $3 million. Who am I going to give that listing to? Am I going to give it to my golfing buddy? Am I going to give it to my friend's sister? Who am I giving that listing to? That's a big listing, a couple $100,000 in commission. Who am I giving that to, and why? And I'm going to show you. I'm going to interview the realtors. So I use that flip as the basis of this training, this training. And I did just show you what is possible, what you can do someday. Now, most of you are sitting there saying, Chad, that sounds great, but I don't even want to flip $1 million house or a $3 million house. That would scare the ever living crap out of me. Just take a 0 off my numbers. Don't go out and buy a $1.2 million house. Buy a $120,000 house. Take a 0 off my $1 million flip, and instead of a 1.2 million, it's 120,000. Take a 0 off the 600,000 that I spent in renovation, and it's only 60,000. Take a 0 off the $3.2 million sales price, and you only got to sell the house for 320,000. So maybe for your first deal, you find a house that's 120,000, it needs 60,000 in renovation, and you're going to sell it for 320,000. Okay. So basically what I want to do in this training series is teach you what's possible, back it up with film and documentation to show you that it actually works. The other really good thing about this flip that I went through is every single thing that could possibly go wrong went wrong, which is great because I still dealt with it. And this property had everything wrong with it. It's asbestos in the roof, leaky roof, mold, broken windows, everything was broken, termite damage. The guy had lived in the house, built it, lived there for 30 or 40 years and never renovated and died in the house. I bought, like just everything. And then everything went wrong with problems with my realtor, problems with the city, problems with the lender, which is going to sound weird because you're going to say, wait, Chad, I thought you were the lender. Wait till I tell you that story. Wait till I tell you that story. Ooh. So we're going to learn all of that, and you're going to be able to do what I did. Maybe you'll start out on a smaller scale. Maybe you buy a $200,000 or $300,000 house and put 50 or 100,000 into it. But I'm going to show you how to do all of that. I'm going to show you how to do all that. Jeff, I would not recommend going to the realtors. I wouldn't even tell them that this is what you're doing. I think that you should move in silence with those people. Move in silence. Now, it's really important. Okay, we're running low on time here. It's really important that you move in silence to those people who are your detractors. You don't want anybody who's going to be negative to know what you're doing. So if you know people are already pessimistic and already negative, don't waste your time talking to them. You're going to be talking to receptive audiences, but not your in-laws and not realtors.
Copy that.
Okay, other
Thank
questions
you.
before? Yes, go ahead. What's that, Jeff?
No, I was just saying copy you. Copy that. Thank you.
Copy that. Yeah. Okay, good. Jeff, I'm so happy you're here, by the way. We got to talk film to you. That's really cool. Your wife's an actress. That's awesome. Yeah,
also, How to Win Friends and Influence People, one of my favorite books. I think I've read it 3 or 4 times. Highly recommended to everybody.
I'm so glad. Yeah, I got Taft-Hartley into the Screen Actors Guild when I was 21 because of Matt Casella, who was the head of Disney casting. He's the head of Disney casting. I had just come back. I was a young model living in Japan, and I came back and moved to LA. And Matt Casella at Disney just connected with me, and he's the guy who discovered Christina Aguilera and Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears. He put me in a movie with Jason Priestley and Jenny Garth, and he put me in another movie with Shannon Doherty and Jody Montana, big 80s actors. Anyway.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. Okay, so that's it for today. That's an hour. Boy, it went by quickly. I sure love training you. I hope what I want you to do now, make sure you go in the school community. Let's all work together. If somebody messages, oh, be careful. We already had one very devious, despicable, disgusting person join our group and then immediately start sending messages to the other people in the group saying, hey, I'm really bummed. I was hoping Chad had real value here, but obviously his course is crap. I have an incredible way to get properties. Why don't you meet with me and let me teach you how to get properties? Somebody literally joined the community, tried to poach most of you or some of you, and they've been kicked out. So anyway, but we're going to learn a lot here, and I appreciate you being here. Any other questions from anybody else? Anybody else have anything else to say? If not, that's totally okay. You don't have to answer. You don't have to ask. You don't have to participate. You are very, very, very welcome to just to watch and learn. If there's nothing for you in this particular event and you don't have any questions, no problem. If you do have questions, feel free to ask them in the community on the community page. It's super easy. I want you to get very comfortable using School because it's such a great resource. And when you come in here, you can go to the community right here and you can just start writing something right there. Right in the community. You can send people messages if you want. You can come in and see who's active and you can engage with people or whatever you want. But what I really want to do is I want to create this community of success-driven, like-minded people who are here to build each other up, support each other, and help us all become successful.
Chad, Mel may not be able to use audio, but she did write in the chat, do you have a deal analyzer? I found a property.
Do I have a deal analyzer? I found a property. Yes, I do have. There is a deal analyzer, but the fastest way to do the deal analyzer is this. Great question, Mel. The fastest way to do the deal analyzer is to do old school math. It's super easy, and this is the technique that everyone should use moving forward. The deal analyzer is this. You always need to know 2 critical pieces of information. 2 critical pieces of information. The most important piece of information is ARV, after rehab value. What is the potential of that property? What is the after rehab value? What is the after rehab value? Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, how much will it take in renovation cost to get to that after rehab value? So for example, in my house, 1.2 million, it was going to take to get it to the 3.2 million was the after rehab value. That's what I sold it for. Okay. 3.2 million, but it took me 600,000 to get there, right? 600,000 to get there. All right. So here's, once you have the after rehab value and you have the rehab costs, here's how you analyze the deal. Ready? Take the after rehab value and multiply it by 0.7. So let's do that together on the $3.2 million house. Okay. So I'm going to put in $3,200,000, $3,200,000. Then it's very simple, times 0.7. And that gives me $2,240,000. $2,240,000. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract the $600,000 in rehab. So minus 600,000 minus 600,000 equals $1,640,000. That means for that property that I paid 1.2 million for, I could have paid all the way up to 1.64. I could have paid 1.64 million and still made money. So here's your deal analyzer. You don't have to have some sort of complicated formula. You don't have to have some, you don't have to have some checklist or cheat sheet or go through some big elaborate system to figure it out. It's super quick, super fast math, and move on. What's the ARV? Multiply that by 0.7 and then subtract the rehab cost. So on a $300,000 house, ARV is 300. After it's fixed up, that's what you think you're going to sell it for, is 300. Okay. Times 0.7. How to find the rehab cost? Is there a square foot average price? Great question, Mel. Okay. Great question. The rehab costs are generally determined by a couple of factors. Yes, the ARV is based on the comps. The ARV is based on the comps, Mel. Absolutely. We're going to talk about comps in a future one when we're going through the analyzing. But yes, the comps are super important. That's how you'll determine the ARV. But as for the average price per square foot, every region of the country is different. For example, for me to get someone here, I live in San Diego, California, and for me to get somebody to do stucco work is much more expensive than it is in say, Las Vegas. Okay. Every region in the country is different. And so in each property is different. So it's difficult to say, oh, hey, the square foot per house, because some houses are going to need extensive rehab going all the way down to the studs, and other houses are going to need moderate rehab. Maybe just it's the kitchen and it's the bath. There are standards that you can look up. But it's really a couple of things, depending on the region you're in, and then equally important, what are the fits and finishes of the house? Like, for example, I spent $600,000 renovating that house. Okay, well, I put in a $25,000 refrigerator. I'm going to repeat that. I put in a $25,000 refrigerator. So how do you calculate that in price per square foot? 25 grand for a fridge? Refrigerators are $1,200, $2,000. I spent 25 grand on a fridge. So doing quick math on rehab is difficult. We'll get more into that into the flipping. We'll get into deep in the weeds on that in flipping, which is about 7 weeks from now, when we'll be deep into the flipping. We got to get all the way through finding. We got to get all the way through funding, and then we'll get to the flipping. And Mel, it's not that I'm putting you off, and I don't want you to go out and flip. I found one that's a full rehab, but looking at $35,000 for rehab. Older lady, had it forever. Hold on, I lost that comment. Where'd it go? I found one that's a full rehab, looking at $35,000 for rehab. An elderly lady had it forever. ARV is 90 to 120, but I doubt 120 looking to hold the property and rent? Well, if you're looking to hold it and rent, that's a totally different equation. How you spend money on that property and how you flip that property are totally different. So I don't know the question you're asking right now. Ask me a very specific question. I'll give you a very specific answer. But if you're trying to flip to rent, that's a slightly different calculation, because some of the things we do on flip to rent are different than flip to sell. Some of the materials you'd use would be different. And you would also, so as you're looking at flipping a house that you're going to keep and use as a rental, you need to make a cash offer to buy it. Yeah, I know you do. I'm not prepared to give you a proof of funds for you to make a cash offer right now. You don't want to offer too much. Do you have the cash? Do you have the cat? Mel, can we get you on? I can't read this and talk. This is ridiculous. No more reading. You have to talk, Mel. How do I unmute you? I can't do this. I can't read and then read again. And then, so how do I unmute you? Participants. Mel, I need you to unmute. Ask to unmute. Mel, I need you to unmute your, I can't read and then answer. I'm not doing that. No. You have to talk to me. I can't read and then answer and have you answer another question. So if you'd like to ask, I just asked you to unmute. Could you unmute your button and we can have a conversation? I can't read and then answer and then have you ask another one and then I'm answering the previous one. So Mel, I can't hear you. Can anybody else? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Mel, sorry, I can't answer any more questions right now. Plus we're already 10 minutes past. Come back Thursday. We'll see you at Thursday meeting. Everyone, thank you for being here. You can post messages inside school. I can help you. Some of the other staff can help you. I've got to run right now. I've got other commitments. I wish you all a good afternoon. Hey, Jeff, good to see you. Everybody else who's in the chat, thank you so much for being here. Mel, good to see you. We'll talk to you next time. And everybody have a great day. See ya.